Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. It's a great privilege to be here. Everything has come together really nicely for us here. Not only do we have a 1,000-hour plus Spitfire pilot, a double Ace with 13 enemy aircraft in his name, a saviour of the Fortress Island of Malta. So he's real royalty when it comes to Spitfires. But we've also got, of course, representatives from the Royal Air Force Benevolent Fund, Mark Quinn. It's going to celebrate its 100th year next year. So for 99 years and 6 months, the Royal Air Force Benevolent Fund has been supporting the bigger family. And we are all part of the Royal Air Force family. Every one of us here, because you've shown an interest in what we're doing, not just by coming here to see CCM and this brilliant motorbike and the contribution they're making, but also because you've come to listen to one of the last surviving people from a generation who are sadly very soon not going to be with us. So my job is to get Alan to tell us a few stories of what it's like to be in a Spitfire, to be facing odds of around 10 to 1, sometimes 15 to 1, and come through. And the only unfortunate thing I have to say is that he doesn't drink gin and tonic. I mean, can you imagine a Spitfire pilot who doesn't drink gin and tonic? Particularly when we've got wonderful Spitfire gin. I mean, I just find that quite remarkable. Alan, the first question I need to ask you is, when did you first start flying? When was your first trip in an aeroplane?
When I was 10 years old. If you can remember, in those days, Alan Cobham had a circus which he went to different towns, and I lived in Southport, and the Southport Sands was an ideal aerodrome for him. And I was only 10, but I was so intrigued that they could land on the sands. I wanted to fly. I proved to be very successful because a lot of people didn't want to fly in those days. They were very sort of worried about giving it to the air. So as a 10-year-old, I went out to an aircraft on my own, and he took off, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. And from that day onwards, I knew that I wanted to become a pilot. And I did. Unfortunately, I became a Spitfire pilot, but that was many years afterwards. I joined when I was 18, and in fact, I was in Biggin Hill at 18 and shot my first enemy aircraft down when I was 19. So, but the 10-year-old experience really triggered me off to be a pilot.
Well, we're here talking specifically about the Spitfire, and it's a really interesting fact that nobody ever crashed a Spitfire on their first solo, and yet there were no two-seat trainers in those days.
Yeah, there was no trainers. You just, first of all, I went to a hurricane, of course, and then they just say to you, there's a Spitfire, fly it. But it's a wonderful aircraft. You don't have any trouble with it at all. People had trouble landing it because with a narrow undercarriage. But when you could fly it properly, there was no trouble in landing it because you had to feel the sense of the aircraft when it becomes to stall, and then just before it stalls, you land it, you see. But then you've got to really sort of fit the aircraft first.
When I first went to Spitfire, I was told that you don't finish your landing run until you're in the bar and halfway through your first pint.
Sorry, I was on
That you don't finish the landing run in a Spitfire until you're in the bar and you're halfway through your first pint, because the lady is a bit of a so-and-so on the ground.
Well, funny enough, I was a teetotaler because,
you heard it here, this is a shock. First Spitfire pilot that's a teetotaler.
Well, the reason that is because a split second in combat meant your life. And if you were slightly under the influence of drink, you forgot that split second and you could lose your life. So it proved to me, I went through 3 tours of operational flying. We got in an awful lot of combat. And the 3 rules of when you're in combat is that you pick your target that you're going to shoot down. watch for the enemy aircraft and they're coming down to shoot you down, and they usually were in the sun, and coming out of the sun was very difficult to find them. But if you have good eyesight, instinctive reaction, which I did have because I was completely alcohol-free, and of course missing all the other aircraft as well because they're milling around the sky. So I flew, fortunately, the Spitfire instinctively. They told me I was a natural pilot. Well, that was so because I made the Spitfire fit me like an overcoat. And then went to combat and I looked at that, the aircraft would go with me. I didn't have to fly it, it flew with me. And that's how in combat it was so useful to have an aircraft that was part of me. I shot an awful lot of people down, they had to shoot me down. Managed to go right through the wall without one bullet going.
So your aircraft was never hit by an enemy aircraft?
Never. I always fortunately to see it coming down and we could outturn it. But when I say outturning, it means that when you shoot an aircraft down that's fighter, for instance, you've got to put deflection, and that is, you've got to shoot ahead of the aircraft so that he runs into the bullets. Now, if you turn so tighter than the measure head, for instance, he can't put a deflection on you because you're turning his, and he's shooting at you, which is, of course, behind you. To shoot me down, you have to fire ahead. I was always able to outturn him, even tighter turn than he could, so therefore, they never shot me down. Whereas with the Messerschmitt, we could outturn them, we could always get ahead of them, put deflection on them, and shoot them down.
When you were in Malta, were you there at the time when the Italians were still flying across the island? I wonder what they were like compared as pilots compared to the Germans.
Well, in Malta, that was the toughest time of ever because we were outnumbered so much. Where sometimes we went down as low as 4 Spitfires serviceable against 100 bombers coming in and escorted by so many 1-9s. We were roughly outnumbered about 25 to 1. And we milled around the sky, tried to shoot down a bomber and keep your nose clean from the others, and I managed to do so.
So when you were in Malta, were you with one score, you were 603, I think, in Malta?
There was no training, you just got into a spirit and fluid. But the only trouble is that we were starving, we had no food. The island was sieged. The only way they got food into it was the 2 submarines called the Clyde and the Porpoise, and they ran the gauntlet in the south, brought out 75% of fuel to get the Spitfires airborne, and 25% of food. Well, when you've got the civilians and ourselves to feed, 25% didn't go very well. So they got 2 cruisers devoid of armour so that they could outrun the subs in the Mediterranean. And they again brought 75% of fuel to keep the Spitfire and 25% of fuel food. So we were very, very hungry indeed. I think we lived on 2 ships' biscuits today. And any naval people about, they know exactly what a ship's biscuit is. You break your own teeth on them, they're so hard. What we do to eat the ship's biscuits, we put it all in a pail of water, and it went into a soggy mass, and then the cookie made a pudding on it. And we all delved into this soggy mass for pudding, but at least it was food. And we managed to, don't forget, we were scrambling anything up to 4 times a day in Malta because the bombers kept going over. We were, just imagine that Malta, a little island the size of the Isle of Wight, and all they had to do was to bomb it. So it was flat, absolutely flat, it was nothing standing at all. The aerodromes, well, we were kept free, although they bombed the runways. But we managed to keep airborne and get after the bombers and shoot down what we could. and keep our nose clean as well, so that we can keep a Spitfire again for another choice. I lost 4 stone in weight in the 6 months I was there.
How did you first get to Malta?
Well,
How did you first get to Malta?
how did I think of?
How did you get to Malta?
Oh, I see. They give you there, well, you had to go by air, of course. And we met up in Gibraltar and boarded an aircraft carrier. We were Air Force people, not naval people. We'd never been on an aircraft carrier in our lives. And when you saw a small landing or takeoff run of 600 feet only, because we don't expect it, my goodness me, and this business doing. Well, they aimed us somewhere up the right. People in there actually thought we needed a slight degree of flap to give us more lift to get us off the deck of the carrier. And they invented a cheese lock of exactly 15 degrees. And when you are on the end and ready to go off, you let the flaps down. A Spitfire flap is fully down or fully up. There's no degree of flap at all. So when you're ready to take off, you let the flap fully down, and the naval people used to slip in these cheese locks, and you let the flap up, and it held them exactly at 15 degrees, which gave you an assistant try and lift to get you on. 600 feet is a short time, and when you took off for the first time, well, apparently we had one of these bats, or the naval men that knew exactly by the revs of sounding and revs. He would wave you forward when it was the correct time. And you were frightened because you were hanging onto the brakes, opening the throttle, and thinking, well, we're going to hit the deck in a moment. But at the right moment, the right edge, you wave forward, you let go, open the throttle, let go of the brakes, and off we go. And when you went over the bow, we were off the Eagle, which is a pointed bow, a very short deck indeed, 600 feet deck. And you tried to keep us, to aid us again, they painted 3 white lines on deck. One to go to the cabin, which is on the left-hand side, one in the center line. So when you got airborne, you could see the center line, but to get there, you had to follow the white line on the cabin. And I think that was kind of scary thing in a way, because after all, we never done it in our lives. And when you did take off, the aircraft sank over the bow, and that was another horrible thought, because you think I'm going to climb off the waves, you know. Then we did, and we formed up a squadron to go to Malta. And that wasn't all clear, because on the way from the aircraft carrier, we had to pass a little island in the Med called Pantelleria. And on Pantelleria there was a squadron measurements. Now we dared to get them airborne and have a dogfight because we never had enough fuel to get to Malta. So we had to creep past Pantelleria as best we could. And fortunately there was no good radar in that case, because nowadays they can pick you up and don't chuck it over the radar. But there it was all by sight. And we managed to get past Pantelleria to get to Malta. And when I got to Malta, there was a raid going on. So we were short of fuel. We had to get in, and our squadron was bidding about trying to get in. And I remember putting my wheels and flaps down to land at Takal. When a messenger came behind me again, we just flung everything round in a circle to avoid him. Fortunately, I did the tightest turn in my life I've ever done with the wheels and flaps down. But the messenger missed him, and I then continued to land, and land as quickly as possible. As soon as you get on the ground, you shoot towards the pen where you can get back into your slip trench. And that's the amazing thing at Malta. No sooner than you landed, the crew started to refuel and re-ammo your aircraft, ready for the next power, say taking up, and on a scramble. So that was Malta, and it's best you arrive in a dogfight and I think, my God, this is Malta, what do I do to it?
So just to recap for you, you've never flown off an aircraft carrier. You're going to have to fly 400 miles with only a map. And I have to tell you, there are not a lot of features over the sea for you to pick up with a map. And then you have to run the gauntlet of German fighters, land, and there are more German fighters. And you land on, and you know that you're not actually going to be fed. It's not like being back in Biggin Hill and having bacon and egg or whatever. You get a porridge of naval biscuits. Did you volunteer for this?
I don't think so, no. It's just one of those things that after the Battle of Britain, I became a qualified combat pilot, so they needed you in Malta. And we just posted to Malta. I'd be like to know.
Tell me, Malta is a unique place. I love it. The people there are tremendous. The only place in the world to get the George Cross for the people's heroism. Quite remarkable place. How long did you spend in Malta? How long did they keep you there?
Well, you can only, the maximum one could do a combat tour was 6 months. So I lasted from July to December. Fortunately, in October was the final push of Kesselring to finish us and try and wipe us off the map. But it didn't occur, so Rommel didn't get his supplies, and we kept the men open, and our little Spits kept going. So Kesselring gave up. He was the one who said, enough's enough, we've lost enough measurements and planes. We were losing bombers as well, you see, and we were trying to shoot them now. So he said, enough's enough, we can't take Malta. So they tried it off, and that was the end of the Siege of Malta in October 1942.
But that wasn't the end of your war. Another 3 years to go.
No, my war continued. We were sent home after the 6 months tour in Malta for a rest, and we needed a little rest, I'm sure. And after that, I was posted as a test pilot to work on the maintenance units. And the idea of those is the maintenance units had to service and make aircraft serviceable and in good shape before they get into squadrons. So we had to test them to see if they were serviceable. And believe me, quite a few things could happen that they weren't quite serviceable. I had some very dear squeaks. Not on Spitfires, for instance, but mosquitoes. I've flown almost 100 different types of aircraft because each MU had a different type of aircraft to fly. And I remember being at RAF they flew mosquitoes. The mosquitoes are wonderful aircraft to fly. It's got 2 engines, very maneuverable, beautiful. I lost one of my engines once, and I had a trainee pilot. When I say trainee pilot, he was becoming an NU test pilot himself, and he wanted to make an experience of mosquitoes. On this occasion, we lost an engine and we couldn't repair it. So I asked air traffic, I said, went to 1 engine landing, complete priority landing. Yes, they said fine. So when you've got 1 engine, you've got a speed to keep up without losing the rudder. And that's 108, 110 knots, thereabouts. Now go below that, and the rudder starts to waggle, you've got no power. So you keep this 108 knots right until almost the last moment where you're over the threshold, cut down, then you can land. Well, I was coming in on priority landing with a mosquito. I had Stan Henley, the trainee pilot on the right. I was trying to tell him all the things that we had to do and so on. Now, out of the corner of my eye, I watched a 4-engine yawl, was taxiing out towards the threshold. Well, that didn't worry because the rules of the air, when you get to the threshold, you look up at the approach, and anybody who's on approach is going to take priority down. But unfortunately, this yacht hadn't got any RT, and the air traffic couldn't control it. And he didn't look up the approach because he taxied on the runway right in front of the landing. So obviously I couldn't land on top of him. So I said to the pilot, "You've got to go round again." Now this going round again on one engine on a Mosquito is the most dangerous thing you could possibly do. It killed more pilots. In fact, it killed 90% of pilots trying to go round again. And the idea of that is they forget, they start opening the good engine, and of course it flips you over back straight away. So, fortunately for me, because I was instinctive, I crept, trickled the engine up, and kept the speed of 180 knots, 8 knots, alongside. The York started to take off, and I thought it was what? A bit dicey. I said to the trading pilot, "Stand if you wasn't there. There's a wobble point just on right past this." I said, "It acts as an engine." I said, "You've got to get our undercarriage up to get clean, otherwise you'll never make it." I said, "Pump, and you act as the engine." Well, the adrenaline was flowing on that pilot. I've never seen anybody pump so fast in all my life. He was on his knees, and the pump went into a blur. But he saved our life because the undercarriage very slowly came up and we were continuing down the runway, wallowing a bit because all the control was 180. But he got us clean, and I managed to get a little trickle of flap up every now and again. And eventually, by the end of the runway, I became a one-engine flyer again. I became